Okay, I thought I'd do a quick video just of the weekly charts, recording this 6:31 p.m. Chicago time, the 29th of July. It's actually Monday morning here in Sydney, Australia. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm going to add a link under this video to a great little video this weekend. John Taylor was speaking to Bloomberg on Friday, I think it was. It was an interesting video. His thoughts on the currencies is really interesting. He's the head of FX Concepts, which is the largest currency hedge fund in the world. His thoughts are really interesting. They're actually kind of diametrically opposed to Jim Rickard's. Rickard's thinks that the euro is going to go up. John Taylor thinks the euro is going to go down. But there's a couple of quotes in John Taylor's video. First thing he said, one of the things he said was it's a pull your hair out market, and I really kind of resonated with me because I feel the same. It's like you can't decide which way to go, and it's getting a bit annoying. He also said we have a binary decision based on this week's activity. We've got kind of Fed, FOMC, and we've got ECB kind of meetings in Germany and so on. Either this is the market's going to do this or it's going to do that. So basically, it's going up or it's going down. But so much of this is kind of being driven on political decisions, and that's kind of what we had this rally over the last 2 days, Thursday into Friday. And just referencing that point about this being kind of a binary market, this is the trend line, better trend line here on the daily chart of the E-mini, and you can see we've just been moving through this congestion zone. It's been getting narrower and narrower, and each time we try to break above, the first time we were in the congestion zone, we're kind of breaking below, and then we kind of break above it, we break below it, break above it, break below it, and the last activity on Friday we kind of break above it here with this very strong kind of bar. So I've been looking at this thinking this is a complex correction, kind of waiting for this thing to go down, and now it's looking with that kind of break, it's looking more like just a triangle kind of consolidation into the next kind of trending up move. And again, just got to stay nimble, just got to be mentally nimble to say, well, if this thing wants to go up, it's going up, and just follow it along. Some of the things that are pointing in the same direction is the weekly support levels on the risk-on charts are kind of holding. So I'll just run through those quickly. So I think I put out a video Wednesday or Thursday just saying we'd had this sell-off into this point, this 1320 support level on better X trend, which was incredibly important. A break below this and a break below 120 on the euro would ensure we were into a downtrend. But I said, after we get a sequence like this of kind of extreme selling over 2 or 3 days, we often get a bounce. Well, I mean, that's what we had. I was expecting maybe a weak bounce, but it came with 2 extremely strong bars with Draghi's comments out of Europe on the beginning of Thursday. But it was similar to these kind of a down pattern moves. This one we get a bounce from there, this we got a bounce from there, and so on. So this we're now a heck of a long way away from the trailing stop here at 1328, so we're heading up in that direction. And luckily the oscillators kind of took profits. It was short kind of in this next move, but it's covered with Thursday's activity, and we're kind of out. It was a mildly profitable trade here. Let me show you the strategy performance rule. New equity highs on here on the trend systems, which is great. So really pleased with that. That's kind of going on there, but it's not reversed into a long trade. We're just kind of covered at this point here. In terms of average trade size as well, this is not bet at Pro-Am. This is just another thing that I use, not released at all. But again, just be wary of average trade size. So into that activity on the Wednesday that we had the bounce from, at the bottom of the range here we had average low average trade size, which means the amateurs are kind of playing around down here waiting for that break to the downside, of which I am undoubtedly part of that camp. So that's kind of my thought there, that it was going to break, and the amateurs thinking the same thing. And you can see we kind of get it here at this turning point here on this downtrend move. They were happening on this little rise, on this little rise here, on this little flip up. So it's just worth kind of taking note of where those amateurs are kind of active. And then here are the weekly charts. Just going to run through this and just show you here. So Dow, we've now got weekly supports kind of in. This is the S&P 500 weekly support is in. Russell has been in for a few weeks, and NASDAQ, we're just coming up to that support level there. And then if you roll through on a whole bunch of the risk on, risk off charts, you can see the same type thing. So weekly chart on the euro, yeah, we went through this pullback to end of trend level, and because we hadn't seen bullish divergence and we'd had this extreme selling, I was thinking that we're just going to fall through this support line, kind of keep going. Well, today, this week's activity, we're kind of back up almost above that support level, and the bullish divergence has come in again. I'm using weekly charts on these kind of bigger picture time frames in order to be my judge of trend direction. It's not unlike on my day trading using the 1500 tip bar chart, looking for end of trends and these kind of extreme selling or buying and bullish bearish divergence patterns on the 1500 tip bar chart as an intraday type thing. So your middle time frame, using that to judge the trend. So weekly charts are really important on the bigger time frame. So that's happening there. And then we've got the pound here. We did have extreme selling at this point here. We've not had bullish divergence. This hasn't kind of signaled this little kind of flip down, but the weekly support is in. Dollar index is obviously going to be the reverse of this. So with this week's activity, we got the bearish divergence is in, and the weekly resistance is in at this point. We're kind of below this, and then this copper, so the support is in. It's not unlike kind of the British pound, kind of with that extreme selling, but I suppose at previous points this 340 kind of level is really important. It's an area we bounced before. We had blue professional bars kind of coming in, we bounced from there, blue professional bars and bounced from there. And then crude's in. We haven't had extreme selling on the downside, but the weekly support is in and seems to be holding on. On the flip side, here's the dollar, the 30-year bonds. So we've got weekly resistance here. We've had an end of trend. We've had, this looks like a classic kind of pattern for extremes, buying, bearish divergence, coming and finally make pullback to end of trend. We've got all these blue professional bars kind of taking profits and extreme buying and so on. Typically for a change here, I'd like that to be a flush at that point there. But calling a change in trend to the bond market has been a futile exercise, so not suggesting that. All I'm saying is this is a point where we're finding resistance, almost double top bearish divergence maybe kind of coming in here, and the weekly energy just flips to the downside on the bonds and the dollar index, and on to the upside on the risk charts. So until that kind of plays out, so all I'm saying is we've got this weekly support which is kind of on an important kind of higher time frame that's just seeming to hold on all of these charts, on the risk on charts. So just go with the flow. It's got to go up, and potentially this could go could go and go. Anyway, on Friday's activity, 4,500 tip bar chart, we've had these pullback to end of trend sequences, exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, pullback to end of trend, blue professional bars at the high there in the flush pattern. So I think we kind of maxed out kind of temporarily, but all that will go to is a support level which will be pullback in an uptrend on the 13,500 tip bar chart. So I think we'll have some weakness on Monday, Tuesday, but just being caught at some point by a support level on this 13,500 tip bar chart, which could also be an end of trend cycle on the 1500 tip bar chart. So that's what I'm going to be looking for as an important kind of area over the next couple of days. And then if you look at the 40,500 tip bar chart, it's like that's where we got the break. This was Draghi's kind of believe me, I can tell you what the euro is going to do statement speech, and there we kind of took off. And we've had our exhaustion buying. So we're just putting in these pullback to end of trend sequences, starting on the 4,500, going up to the 13,000, up to the 40,000, going through those cycles in order to max this pattern out wherever that kind of finishes for the time being. So anyway, just wanted to show you that. So on these weekly charts, just remember that we've got these kind of support and resistance levels kind of showing up, and so got to go with the flow. Hope enjoy your weekend, and I hope you trade well next week.